past weekend at church, the pastor said, if we don't believe that something is gonna work, we're not gonna do it. And he was specifically talking about like prayer in our spiritual lives, and if we don't think it's gonna work or if it's gonna change anything, we're obviously not gonna do it. And often we really need to be convinced of something before we'll start taking steps in that direction. And I think a lot of us can feel the same way about minimalism. It can feel equally as mystifying as our spiritual lives and beliefs. And we really want to hope. We want to hope that it could make our life better, it could alleviate some of the stresses and the pains that we have, but at the end of the day, we don't know for sure. There's no guarantees. And so for many of us, that's just enough of a stumbling block that we get hung up and we don't keep moving forward. And so today I want to talk about some micro habits, some really small changes that we can make to head us in the direction of simplifying and minimizing our home, because most of us really do believe that it's gonna make a big difference. We just don't always know how to get there. Well, hi, I'm Dawn from The Minimal Mom. If we haven't met before, I'm married to Tom and we have 4 kids, ages 8 through 12. And we have lived as minimalists for quite a few years now, and we love helping you simplify as well. And so a book that has really changed how I look at habits and goal setting and how we achieve changes and success in our lives is Atomic Habits. And so I want to talk about a few micro habits or small teeny tiny changes that we can make today that could add up to huge success. So he breaks it down into, there's these 4 laws of behavior change. And so if we actually want to experience success, which is something he has studied over and over again, that there are actually these kind of like 4 rules that we can apply. And so he says that we have to make it obvious, make it attractive, it has to be easy. This is a key, like it really has to be easy. And we have to make it satisfying. So there has to be some kind of like natural reward to what we're doing, or let's face it, we're not gonna do it. So let's talk about this. Okay, so 1, make it obvious. If we want to feel encouraged and inspired and motivated when we do something, we need to see a result. Like we joke about it, right? We're in a culture of instant results. If I don't see change right away, don't even bother wasting my time with it. I want instant results, right? And so how do we experience that with minimalism? Well, it's by decluttering things that make a big difference. So last week we actually shared 22 things to declutter in 2022, and I intentionally made them easy things that make a big impact. In other words, you get a pretty good sizable amount of space back in your home. So I'm gonna link to that and you can go back and revisit that. But things like furniture, toys, extra clothing, extra kitchen gadgets and stuff that you're not using, all those extra cups and water bottles and mugs, moving that stuff out, it's not hard stuff to declutter and it can make a huge difference. And that feels very satisfying. All right, number 2 is to make it attractive. Now, before we go any further, I do want to thank Blinkist for sponsoring today's video. If you're not familiar with Blinkist, here's what they do. They take nonfiction books like Atomic Habits and they boil it down to the main points, like the highlights, and they call these blinks, and you can either listen to them or read them depending where you're at. Like when I'm getting ready in the morning, I love to just listen to them, but sometimes like when I find myself with a few minutes, I'm out and about with the kids or waiting for them, I'll just read it so that it's quiet. But there are over 5,000 nonfiction titles. So what I do now is when I see a new book and I'm tempted to buy it, I actually listen to the blinks first, and then from there I decide if I want to read or listen to the whole book or if I've kind of got the main gist. A lot of times just listening to the blinks is enough, but there are some books like Atomic Habits that I want to listen to the whole book. But it's super easy to use. You just install the app, you can start browsing through the library and see all of the different books that are available. I'll put some of my favorites down below because I love revisiting them over and over again to get re-inspired and re-motivated. Again, as we're talking about micro habits, every time I listen to the blinks of Atomic Habits, I feel re-inspired that yes, these tiny little changes every day really do add up to make a huge difference. And right now, Blinkist has a special offer where if you use our link down below, you can get 7 days for free and then 25% off the premium membership. So that link is down below, but we're so grateful for Blinkist for sponsoring this video. And like I said, I will put some of my favorite books down there as well. Okay, so again, we're on number 2 of make it attractive. Why do I want to pursue minimalism? Well, for most of us, we want to have a peaceful home. And the problem is that often when we get into decluttering, we forget why it's attractive. Because when we go to declutter, we are faced with every wrong purchase we have made over the last 10 or 12 years or however long you've been accumulating stuff. We are faced with every wrong decision and we start to feel guilty and bad, and this does not make us feel good. So we start to associate decluttering with negative feelings when we're trying to pursue minimalism or simple living that is supposed to give us all this good stuff. So a micro habit that you can put in place is to constantly be listening to things or consuming content that inspires you and reminds you of the attractiveness of minimalism. So I mean, watching our videos, thank you very much. The Minimalist, Joshua Becker. There's so many other friends that I've hoped to introduce you to over the past year or two through our Mega Motivations. And so I'll put links to those down below. But it is amazing how if we can keep this in front of us in a culture that is promoting buy more, buy more, buy more, but if we can turn away from that and make a micro habit of every day consuming some kind of content that is reminding me of how attractive and wonderful minimalism is, it is gonna make it easier to stick with these goals and habits. Number 3 is to make it easy. So again, that's why those 22 things to declutter in 2022, I wanted them to be easy things. And like I mentioned in that video, whenever we go to declutter, we assume that everything is hard. Like if you walk into your basement or attic or garage, wherever your like mega storage space is, and if there's stuff stacked up and there's stuff everywhere, we just assume that it is all difficult stuff. It got put there because I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know if I'd use it. And we just automatically think that it is all hard stuff. But the truth is that there is easy stuff in there. And so whenever we go to any space in our house, we want to start with the easy stuff. So if you're just at the beginning of your decluttering journey, or if you've been at it for a while but you're trying to get remotivated, we don't go to sentimental stuff. We don't even go to paper clutter. We don't go to photos. We don't go to that really hard stuff. We want to start with the easy stuff. What stuff are you just obviously not using right now? And so we keep it easy in the beginning. And if when you go to declutter, you start to feel like you're getting overwhelmed, you're experiencing decision fatigue, you're spinning your wheels, you either set that item down and look for something easier, or you just stop for the day. Because decision fatigue is real. And again, we want to associate this with good feelings of success and motivation and not bad things. And so the micro habit here is to do 5 or 10 minutes at a time. We glamorize these huge decluttering sessions, taking a whole weekend and renting a dumpster and getting rid of so much. But the truth is that most of us get overwhelmed. And so we need to do it in 5, 10, or 15-minute chunks. And that micro habit is how you are gonna experience success and how you are gonna get totally fed up with your clutter. Because most of us don't want to spend 5 or 10 or 15 minutes a day every single day decluttering. We want to be done with it and we want to move on. And so as you do that every single day, you start to be like, you know what? Enough is enough. What would have been a hard decision a month ago is no longer a hard decision because I am tired of looking at it and handling it and I want it out of my house. But most often the only way we get there is by doing it a little bit every day and finally saying, I don't want this to take 5 years, right? I want to be done. And that shifts how we look at this stuff, and that's when it becomes easier. But again, we can't get there usually in one day. So it's this little habit of day after day after day that causes us to get there a whole lot quicker. All right, and lastly is to make it satisfying. Now, we're all wired differently. For some of us, looking back at a tidy kitchen is reward in and of itself. I mean, there actually is, like that releases dopamine. We feel good when we look back at a space. So anytime you have been decluttering an area, always try to kind of like tidy it up when you're done, put it back so that you can look back and see that satisfaction. Definitely take before and after pictures. Make a habit of taking before and after pictures. Literally, you know, you love seeing before and afters. When you see it on a video or social media, like we all get a dopamine rush, even if it's not our space. So you want to create that in your own space as well. So take before and after pictures. But for some of us, let's just be honest, that's not always enough, okay? So let's set up some other kind of reward system. What would be a reward for you? How could you reward yourself? Would it be to upgrade something? You know, like as we got into simplifying our home, I wanted some nicer pots and pans. I'm like, I don't have a lot of pots and pans, so the one frying pan I do have, I want it to be super nice, right? So is there something you would upgrade? Is there something in your wardrobe that as we look towards, you know, buying better quality quality over quantity? Is there a certain piece that you would really like to invest in? And so you tell yourself, okay, if I get my whole wardrobe simplified, if I pare it down to just the things that fit and I feel good in, then I will reward myself by intentionally filling in some of the gaps that are in there, or in the kitchen, or other areas of your home. So we can build in some of these rewards so that it feels very satisfying and worthwhile, and that is definitely going to keep us going. And so one last piece of encouragement on setting habits. I know we're at the beginning of another new year, and even as you listen to a book like Atomic Habits or listen to the Blinks, it can be easy to think like, okay, well, I need to set habits in decluttering and in healthy eating and weight loss, and there's spiritual habits that I want to start. And it starts to feel like, well, I need to start setting little habits in all of these. But what James Clear talks about in his book that I think is so inspiring is that just pick one. Just pick one area. If it's decluttering, great. If not, that's fine. But pick one area and pick one small habit that you're going to stick to. And you having that discipline in that one area is going to increase your self-confidence, and it is going to begin to transfer over to other areas as well. So these other areas that you're hoping to have really great habits in too, it will start to bleed over to that. That's maybe not the best word. I don't know. It will start to spread over to that as well. So focus on one habit right now in the new year, and then over time you're going to see that it is so much easier to implement these other habits because you have gained confidence in yourself that you can follow through with what it is that you say that you're going to do, and that is such a great feeling. So as we head into this new year, I'm excited for you. We are going to make huge progress this year because I think, kind of like I mentioned before, I think a lot of us are at like the enough is enough point, right? We are tired of managing this inventory. We have more clarity now of what is important and what's not, and we are going to use that to make a lot of progress. So I love you. I'm super excited for you. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.